Here we are. Good evening and welcome to the Wallingford Town Council regular meeting of April 28th, 2026. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Allenson. Carmody.
Here.
Fishbein.
Here.
Laffin.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Rivard.
Here.
Versace.
Here.
Tata.
Here.
Testa.
Here. We have a quorum, and we are now in session. May I have a motion on the consent agenda, please?
I make a motion to approve and accept items 3A through 3N and 3O as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The as amended, I'm sharing this for the those of you on the council. It was so much easier just to do it tonight. There was a couple of spelling errors, and there was a title. I can send it to you all so you'll be able to see it. There was a title of a section in the agenda on one part of the workshop, which was misleading. It said workshop with Board of Ed and HSS departments. That's how I had written it originally, so we just corrected that. And there was some back and forth about one paragraph describing the workshop on the Board of Ed budget, and I just decided to remove that paragraph. I'll show it to you, and if anyone has a problem with that, they can let me know. So that was the amendment, and that's why we didn't want to have to change it, bring it back on another night. We have a few things on us as an aside here before we move on. We made a number of appointments this evening. So if the following people are here, please step up to the town clerk to be sworn in. We appointed Richard Benham as an alternate to the Planning and Zoning. Eileen McKean as an Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission regular member. Shane O'Brien as an alternate to the Wetlands Commission. James Vitale, a reappointment to the Wetlands Commission. Nancy Lehman, alternate Historic Properties Commission. Leslie Williams, alternate to the Historic Properties Commission. I believe that was all of them. If any of those folks are here, Mr. Benham is to be sworn in. Thank you.
All right. Can I raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as alternate member of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Wallingford to the best of your ability, so help you God?
Thank you, Mr. Benham. All right, there's one other thing I would like to mention. We don't have something on the agenda specifically related to correspondence, but I have indicated to people recently that we do not, if somebody sends us a letter and requests that it be read into the record, we do not read the letter and, verbatim, for the simple reason that, there could be a night where there's people decide to send 20 letters in, and that's not going to be how these meetings go. But I committed to at least recognizing the receipt of the correspondence as we typically would do, and briefly give a synopsis of what the intent of the letter was. And if the author is not satisfied with that, they're free to read the letter again at the next meeting if they wanted to. But anyway, we received a letter, the whole council, from Keith Massimino, and in effect, it expressed his great displeasure, I should say, and serious concerns about the interactions he had with the Director of Park and Rec last night at the public hearing. And he was sharing his views on that and his criticisms of what he thought were, what he thought of Mr. Michael's temperament and behavior during those interactions. He also shared various complaints about how he felt that department was operating and things that he thought should be looked into. And that was the extent of the letter, and I told him I would share that. It will be put into our record as written, as part of the record since we received it. And that's, I believe, all the miscellaneous that, okay, so now we will move on with the actual agenda. And the next item on the agenda is the public question and answer period. Does anyone have any questions for the council? Yes, please. Please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record.
Good evening, Bob Gross, Long Hill Road.
Hello, Bob.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I'm here as a representative tonight from Center Street Cemetery. I'm an unpaid volunteer, as its board and volunteers are. I would like to clear up numerous falsehoods that were stated by a member of the public last night at the 4/27/26 council budget meeting. As far as I know, we do not have a cease and desist order from the town. We have had correspondence with the town planner, planning and zoning, public works, and the mayor's office stating that they do not want us to use artificial grass at the cemetery. We are working with a landscaper to decide what would work best for the small area, as the cemetery has had numerous issues with growing and maintaining grass in that area. We have received suggestions from the town. The cemetery has a contract with the town. The cemetery abides by it. We are not out of bounds with it, as far as we know. We are not in conflict with any of the provisions in the contract. The contract with the town has a base amount with provisions for increases every year. As costs go up, the cemetery requests small increases to defray the escalating expenses. The funds provided by the town do not cover all the yearly expenses. If the Cemetery Association relied just on town funds, the cemetery would be running at a deficit every year. The cemetery raises money to cover the shortfall that we experience in some years. There was a statement that we are closed from December through March. 4 months. That is completely false. The only thing that might happen during winter months is burials might be delayed. The cemetery is operational all year. Plowing, all that type of stuff is done. Winter months is when the building gets more attention, as does the machinery. Painting of the tractors, overhaul of engines, those type of things. So everything runs at peak efficiency during the months that it's needed. This is no different than a golf course or something. They do all their maintenance, major maintenance during the winter if possible. Mention was made of our budget versus the salary of employees. The town employee might make in wages X, but that is not his salary. I do not have to state what makes up the entire package of a hard-working town employee, but the numbers presented are very wrong. Also, we are on call 365 days a year. Unfortunately, people die every day, and we are here to take care of the needs, including weekends. Conditions of the cemetery, as Mr. Beaumont stated last night, the public person speaking, was so off base, it doesn't even dignify an answer more than what Mr. Beaumont said last night. If any of the councilors are unfamiliar with the cemetery, new ones included, we invite you to take a tour. Just contact us and we will make it happen. The cemetery is not full, and we will be doing burials for years to come. Also, please know that cremations are a big part of burials, and they take up less space. And the cemetery is looking to buy columbariums, which could accommodate thousands of burials, depending on what we buy. Unknown graves. We're going through everything that was brought up. Unknown graves, there are some. We are a cemetery that is over 340 years old. We have no idea where they are, and we have no idea how we came up with 300 people being buried in there that are misplaced or unmarked. No idea. And the last thing is talking about shutting it down. That's totally irrational response. How do you close down a cemetery? You can't. It's for perpetuity. It's going to be here. Thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Mr. Gross, if you would wait one moment. First of all, thank you. It is very helpful to hear from you as you did so. May I ask of you, though, is it possible, because there are new counselors up here, and I don't recall where I might have it handy, but would you be able to forward to the clerk for us a copy of that contract that the cemetery has, or should we get it from the town?
Well,
All right, I'll get it
I
from the
would
town.
direct the council to the town attorney.
Not a problem.
She's the one who drew it up.
Can we get it? There it is. That was easy. How about a copy of your budget?
We gave it to you in December.
All right. Very good.
The mayor's office asked for it, and we provided it in December.
Okay, good enough. Then I'm all set. Thank you very much for
Welcome.
for coming up. Anyone else? All right. What?
I have,
Would you like to speak about something?
yes, I would.
This is the time. Yes, please. Come on up. Any topic that's not an agenda item tonight?
The fellow said he would put that on the screen. That's my flyer. Let's see. Is he supposed to do that?
I don't know what you're referring to.
My name is Angela Mitchell. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Make sure you identify.
Speaking about
Well, you have a limited amount of time, so you haven't started yet.
no, but everybody should be able to look at it.
Yeah. You may, if you just identify yourself for the record when you begin your speaking, and we'll see what it is you would like to know or want to share. And if you can keep it to 3 minutes, that's always appreciated.
Sure, why not? I've done movies with movie stars. They do it in 2 minutes.
Okay.
My name is Angela Mitchell, and I live in Wallingford on Jones Road, 28. And there's precarious brazen action of drivers on this street. And, oh, here, maybe you want to look at this over here. I thought he said he would put it up. But anyways, I'm here because it's a plea to take some action so that there isn't any awful happenings at this intersection. And if you look at it, I have some ideas that flashing signs could help, maybe about 25%, but then again, also, people will psychologically say, oh, there's flashing signs, maybe somebody's watching, because someone in your police force said they wouldn't do that because they don't work. Well, I think they do work somewhat, but it's better than nothing, and it's probably less expensive. And another idea that I was thinking about, and many towns are using cameras, and I understand that you wouldn't put a camera up only on 68 or Route 5, so that would help probably by 80%, which is, you know, a good amount to help save from someone like myself getting hit. Signs, professionally done, attached to the stop sign bar that goes down, could state, well, there is a disabled person. If you look at my diagram, my diagram, there's a disabled girl and a dog owner to the left of or to the front. Well, you're looking at it to the left. My house is to the right corner, lower corner, and up in the left-hand upper corner are children that play. So if a sign could be placed on both those stop signs that would, you know, say or be printed, disabled person, comma, children, comma, pets. And I also noticed that coming from the south on Jones Road, there are no slow signs, or I can't pick out a sign that identifies the speed. I live there, and at night, towards the evening, like rush hour, let's say 4 o'clock to 6, there are people that will go by there at 50 miles an hour, and they bolt right through the stop sign. And the stop sign that I'm talking about is the one going north, with the arrow pointing north. So Cook Hill Road is north, so if you look at that. And you'll see a letter B, that's me. If I pull out of my driveway, if I exit out of my driveway onto Jones Road, and I've seen it so many times, people coming from the north on Jones Road at position A, they are either texting or talking and rolling. They are not even paying attention to what the heck is in front of them. So if I pull out of my driveway someday and this person coming from A going towards B, they will hit me. And, you know, I'm a type of person, I follow the rules. I drive always with, the speed limit, and always I'm aware of my surroundings. So, and you could see coming from, I didn't write down, Apple Tree Lane, which is that purple arrow, it's like a hub. They come barreling through. The people from, the worst part is Cook Hill coming south. They do not even recognize the signs. They come right through. So I believe something should be done rather quickly. They are fixing the road presently, and they're doing an excellent job. You know, they're putting the pavement down and everything. They're really doing it. So everybody's slowing down, you know. But when all of that's fixed, I mean, gosh almighty, it's a country road. It's not a highway. It's not Route 5. It's not 91. It's, you know, it's not the Mare Parkway.
Okay.
When I walk my dog sometimes, you know, people are barreling about 40, 45 miles an hour either way. So signs, let people know what the degree of speed they should be doing, and some kind of effort at that hub where you see those A, because someday something really bad's going to happen. I could feel it.
Got it.
And when they go barreling through, brazen, and not stopping, that's something wrong. And it was happening everywhere, but
I understand.
I'm just here to express to the council that some kind of action needs to be taken. And Officer Nolan did come last Tuesday, and he had 7 people in 1 hour and 10 minutes. And see, that's my proof right there. 7
You mean
people.
he stopped 7 people for speeding?
He stopped for speeding.
Okay.
Yep. And he gave him a warning. He said he's coming back. I don't know when he's coming back to give him actual tickets, but. You know,
When was this?
I believe it was last Tuesday
Okay.
prior. Officer Nolan, and he did a great job. And
Great.
the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. It's 7 people in 1 hour and 10 minutes. I mean, that's an off-peak. And
That was the thing. In how many minutes?
1 hour and 10 minutes.
1 hour and 10 minutes, okay. So
7 people, and he was saying that is the off time, which it was. It was in
70 minutes, 7 people, okay.
the morning. So my
Right.
point is this, some action needs to be taken
Understood.
somehow by this town.
Okay. And I know exactly where you are because I have a good friend around the corner on Apple Tree, and I've traveled that way many times. So, and for those wondering what we're talking about too, you're on Jones Road, and we can see that it directly connects Cook Hill Road and Mansion Road. So I guess you're suggesting too, or you're suspecting that a lot of people are using that as a cut through to get from Cook Hill to Mansion, and they're going real fast. All right.
45 or 50 miles
All right, good enough. So your points are well taken. We know exactly what you're looking for, and this is typically something that is handled by the administration, was handled by the police department through the administration. The town council has no authority whatsoever over the something like this, other than if they were to ask for some money, we could authorize money. So we only authorize spending. That, I'm not trying to say we can't do anything about it. I'm saying, but we can't do anything about it other than advocate with those who can on your behalf and try to see what's going on. Maybe my first thing to do would be to discuss this with the police chief first and get some background from him and the lieutenant that runs traffic. And then I would know more, will know more, certainly talk to the administration. So at this point, all I can tell you is that you have certainly made us all aware of something very important to you, and I can speak for myself, and I'm sure I'm not alone. We'll look into it for you and see if there's anything that we could do to help you out.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your
No,
time.
I appreciate you coming here. Very good. All right. Anyone else? All right. What's that? I don't know. Let's take a look. Okay. So now we have, okay. So the next item, you can call it, and then I'll explain it.
Sure. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on Save the Sound proposal to remove Wallace Dam as requested by the mayor.
And I know the mayor can't be here this evening, and I know that this is, we're going to have something presented to us by the group Save the Sound. And
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
The mayor and staff met with Save the Sound. They're here to make a presentation with respect to Wallace Dam. If they can come forward and sit down in front of you and make their presentation.
it'll be up on the screen, right?
We're just going to speak.
Oh, all right. Fantastic.
You had their handout in your packet.
Oh, yes. I saw that. I printed it and left it home. Thank you very much. In color, no less. If you would identify yourselves individually and let us know what you want to do.
Sure thing. My name is Laura Wildman. I'm the Vice President of Ecological Action at Save the Sound. I'm also an engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut. And I have with me Alex, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Alex Crofta, also with Save the Sound. I'm a project manager on the ecological restoration team. Okay, should I do that again? It sounded loud to me, but I can do it again. Gotcha. I'm Alex Crofta.
Yeah, I didn't even turn mine on.
There
Yes.
you go. I'm Alex Crofta, ecological restoration project manager at Save the Sound.
And my name's Tim Wildman. I'm a senior fisheries biologist with the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection's Fisheries Division.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we've got some good sound now, so.
Good, excellent.
No pun intended. Good. All right, I'll shut down now.
Okay, so about a year ago, Department of Environmental Protection, contacted us, Fisheries contacted us. We had been involved with them and the town in 2012 to put the fishway in at Wallace Dam. But they were having some significant issues with the fishway from an efficiency point of view, and Tim can speak to that. So they asked us if we would consider looking into removal of the dam. At that time, we reached out to the mayor and your town engineer. We had an initial meeting to discuss the potential idea, because obviously a privately owned dam has to have the permission of the owner. They gave us the green light to apply at least for funding for it, to move forward with looking for some funding for removal. So we did that. At the time, we had 2 different funding sources to do some preliminary sediment testing. Then we also applied to Long Island Sound Futures Fund and received $500,000 to continue on with potential design and permitting. And we have since then also received $700,000 in mitigation funding from the state for the project as well. And we have also applied for, I think it was 1.2 million?
1.5.
1.5 million from another state funding source. We have not heard back yet on that. So we started moving forward with looking at potential feasibility of the project to determine if, any critical issues came up. We went this, and by the way, the Wallace Dam is the first barrier on the Quinnipiac River. So removal of the dam would open about 30 miles of riverine habitat, and that would benefit American shad, river herring, both alewife and blueback, and American eel, and sea lamprey as well. So this is a really kind of a very large-scale potential restoration effort of the Quinnipiac River. It has a lot of ecological benefits. So Save the Sound was very happy to help out the state with this potential effort. Again, because we got a relatively positive reception from the town, we did move forward with those funding sources. Right now, we have enough to continue on. We also moved into feasibility, and feasibility didn't show any critical issues. A lot of times things come up, like maybe the dam isn't serving its original purpose, but it has a secondary purpose. In this case, that was not the case. We did not feel like there's going to be any critical infrastructure issues as well. Removal of the dam not only would have benefits from an ecological value, but would also remove long-term maintenance issues and inspections that are required by the town now. And because this is a low-head dam, you might have heard, but low-head dams are especially dangerous when it comes to the hydraulic rollers that happen below the dams, and they can be drowning hazards. So right now, the town has the dam posted as a potential drowning hazard. And, you remove those types of hazards as well if we move forward with removal of the dam. So these are some of the reasons why we'd like to take the next steps. We've been working with the town on a memorandum of agreement and working with the lawyers. The lawyers have gotten to a point where they've got agreement on the understanding, and we would like to move forward with getting that signed by the mayor, but he made it very clear, even though he thought this was a really positive project, that it was the town council that would make the final decisions. And so we're here to discuss or answer any of your questions today. And you did get a handout that tries to answer some of the basic questions, but there are often public questions that come up during these processes.
All right, great. I know I have questions, and I'm sure others do.
Great.
So we'll start with Councilor Fishbein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the backup, you said that the same amount of water will flow through the site before and after removal of the dam. How is that physically possible?
Correct. So what it means is, so some dams are diversion dams. So you have water that's coming in, and they'll divert flows somewhere else, and then you'll have a reduced amount of water downstream. This is not a diversion dam. So right now, this dam just backs up water, but all the water that's coming into the impoundment is the same amount of water that leaves. So the flows coming into the dam are the same that are going out of the dam. That's going to be the same when the dam is removed as well, because that storage behind the dam right now, that backwatered area, is what we call dead storage. So basically, again, those same riverine flows that are coming into the impoundment and currently going over the dam, they're just going to, with the dam removed, they'll just continue on through. So it's the exact same amount of flow, both inflow and outflow, under both existing and proposed conditions.
But at a time of year that there's low water levels, water that comes downstream is essentially, the majority of it is blocked by the dam.
Yeah, but a dam like this that, again, doesn't divert, that's dead storage. So it's full. The impoundment behind the dam is full at all times. So if you picture it, that area that's full, it's just continually full. So the flow coming in still goes over the crest of the dam. So even when it's a low flows, it comes down, it goes over the crest of the dam and out. So the dam itself is not like creating flow. And that flow, that volume that's stored behind the dam is dead storage. So it just stays there. Now, during the removal, right when you're removing, you lower the impoundment and you drain that. But that's just a short period of time, often just takes like a half a day or an hour or two. So once you've removed the dam, it's the exact same thing as with existing conditions. The amount of flow coming in is the same as the flow going out. And there will be a detailed hydrologic and hydraulic analysis that's done for the removal as well.
Thank you. I was involved with the fish ladder.
Oh, great.
I was very happy. I was there, part of the opening of the fish ladder. I've been to the, I've gone down in there since then, to look at what's going on and stuff. It's, interesting for me. What happens to all that infrastructure?
Well, what we're hoping to do is right now, with the fish ladder in place, you can't fish in that area because that's a restriction near any fish ladders. So what we're hoping to do is actually reutilize some of that infrastructure, fill in the fishway, but use it as a wheelchair accessible ramp and make a fishing platform right there, so that we can not just fish in this area, but that we can get wheelchairs down. We actually want to work with a veterans group to help us do that part of it. But that's part of the funding that we've submitted as well.
Probably the best answer I've ever heard. Really,
it kind of screams it when you go out to the site. It really,
No, it does.
right now, the fishway itself looks like a ramp that could go down. And actually, Tim can speak to the passage efficiency issues, because we were involved in building the fishway as well. So obviously, we would have wanted it to be a success. But if you want to speak, Tim, to some of the issues you've had with passage efficiency.
So a fishway is only, a fishway can only be successful if fish can find it, right? All the fish that that my shop's interested in are highly migratory species, as Laura spoke to earlier, the shads and river herring and lamprey and eel. And they're highly migratory. They're coming from Long Island Sound. They're coming from the North Atlantic, actually. And they're trying to get into spawning habitat. And so if they can't find the fishway, they're not going to get upstream. And so what happens is the attraction flow coming out of the fishway isn't sufficient enough for the fish to find it. As you know, the flows are very dispersed across the spillway. It's a wide spillway. You've got a breath of water coming over, and so the fish get lost at the spillway. The fishway entrance is downstream a number of feet from the actual dam itself. So the fish don't sense the fishway. They get up to the dam, and they don't know to turn around that they've missed the fishway. And so they're stuck at the spillway of the dam. And yeah, and so it just has very, very poor attraction flow. There's nothing that we can do to address the attraction flow. Once the fish get in the fishway, it's very passable. They just can't find it. And so, we run into poaching problems. There's delay in migrations and all these other things that make for effects from poor passage performance.
There's two other topics. We've had discussions in town about phosphorus and the Quinnipiac River and things like that with discharges. Would this perhaps improve our phosphorus problem? We'll call it that.
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay.
I apologize.
And the last
In general, I can speak to that to some degree. So there have been multiple reports with small dam removals that it improves water quality. You wouldn't think that it would have that large of an effect, but the backwater condition creates lower dissolved oxygen levels. It can create buildups of certain contaminants. So the free-flowing river condition is actually your most is your best water quality condition. So it should improve that. Now, we also looked at impounded sediment behind the dam, and we did some tests, and we found that we were not running into contaminants in that impounded sediment, and that there wasn't really a lot of impounded sediment either. So I think everything, again, is kind of falling into place for this to be a situation that really improves water quality and improves the overall health of the river.
And, last but not least, I just want to thank you folks, because I fish the Sound frequently in the summer, and over the last 25 years, I've seen improvement. And it's amazing how different the Sound is today as opposed to 25 years ago. You had to, be in the muck and that kind of stuff, and, you really don't see the muck that much anymore. And, and the fish are coming back, and, and I think you have a lot to do with that. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank
Thank you. Councilor Rivard.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And the material was, I know we can't see it here, it was very complete as well. It was very, very helpful.
That was Alex.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, and my Boy Scout sense came back to me here. This is really restoring to the natural flow of things, right?
It is, yeah.
And as you mentioned here, with zero impact to current uses or really even future uses from what I can see.
Yeah, we were concerned there might be an existing use, so we did contact the company nearby to make sure they weren't using it for a diversion.
Okay. One thing that I know, I mean, we have the information here. Can you describe what, if any, effect on water levels upstream, downstream?
Yes.
Any effect on Community Lake, which at any season of the year, because I'm sure that people, when they hear about this dam, you know, possibly being removed, they'll want to know about those effects, if any. I think right here, you're basically telling us that there's none, but if you can describe why that is.
Well, I wouldn't say there's none.
Okay.
We're going to do a hydrologic and hydraulic analysis as part of that. So that means we will figure out the flows of the river system. We'll run them through a hydraulic model, which is called a water surface profile model, and it will allow us to say the differences in water surface elevation levels upstream. We imagine, just based on the height of the dam and looking at the current water surface profile that FEMA has run through this, that there will be impacts to water levels upstream, that we will be reducing them. This should help reduce any type of flooding. It's not going to eliminate flooding upstream, but we will likely see some reduction in flooding upstream. And because the remnants of Community Lake, the 3 ponds that are there, are hydraulically connected to the river. A matter of fact, 2 of them are. One is detached, but is probably connected through groundwater. We would expect to see some changes in water surface elevation on these. Now, these ponds are 10-foot plus. They will not be drained, but we will be looking at those hydraulic connections. And if we feel like the connection itself becomes dewatered, we might do some modifications to those connections to make sure that the circulation and the flows in those side ponds are still, adequate.
Thank you. Do you guys, and I understand you have to do a full, analysis of that to know, I mean, roughly how many feet can people be thinking of reduction in Community Lake, just for awareness?
There's a chance that it could be 1 to 2 feet, but we will have to do the analysis to determine that.
Not,
It
many
again,
feet.
it won't
Not
drain
many,
below
many feet.
that because because those channels that are going into it are perched. They're higher right now, so it couldn't go below that. But that being said, again, then you're talking groundwater, and we're talking about potential some restoration. Right now, they only have 1 connection hydraulically, each one of those, not the third one, but the 2 other ponds. We might want to look at determining if we want an inflow and an outflow connection to get better circulation in there and keep water quality in those side ponds good. Also, those side ponds, if we want to make sure they're hydraulically connected for other reasons too, because they can become a beneficial habitat for alewife as well. So that will be part of the restoration effort to make sure that those are still providing both a public purpose and a fisheries purpose.
Got it. And I did see in the proposed agreement or contract that, you and the sound folks would be providing updates to the public about the progress, and things like this would be well understood and shared as you learn more, I hope.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Councilor Tata.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening. I know it was in our backup, but just for the benefit of the public, can you just explain why and when the original dam was built?
Sure. The dam was originally built in the 1800s, and it was for diversion of water for mechanical power to industry. So a lot of times when people hear about old dams and they think power, they think hydroelectric. It wasn't hydroelectric. It didn't ever serve a purpose where it went through a turbine or something like that. It went into a canal, it went to the factory, and probably moved wheels in the factory for mechanical power at that time.
Great, thank you so much. As soon as I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was Garden Road. So did you hear about Garden Road in your research or the history of that? Okay.
Is that the road to the east that used to flood?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so Alex has.
Okay, so can you speak to that at all? Because as soon as I saw this, I was thinking, would this have saved that? Will that now become usable? What do you think about that?
That would be a question for the engineers once we evaluate the flooding. I couldn't say from this standpoint if that would be then out of the floodplain.
Is it upstream of the dam?
It's upstream.
So if it's upstream of the dam, within the area of impact of the dam, we would expect reduction. Now, sometimes when we're talking to lay people, they think reduction of floods means, oh, you're going to take us out of the 100-year flood. But in a system like the Quinnipiac, which is backwater controlled, it might actually have no impact on, let's say, a 100-year flood, but it might have an impact on something like a 10-year flood or a flood that happens every annual year, once a year. So that'll be part of the analysis where we'll run a range of flows and see where the benefit is. But you probably, if it's within that area of influence of the dam, you would expect a benefit of some kind. It's just that will it really take it out on a system, again, like I said on the Quinnipiac, a lot of it during higher storms is impacted not even from the dam, but the dam can be fully submerged. It might be impacted from restricted bridge crossings and everything else. So we would have to look at that as part of that analysis.
Okay, great. Yeah, that would be nice to see, because that was, it was years ago when I was pretty young when it happened, but I remember it was a road with houses on it, and they ended up having to abandon the houses and leave because of flooding.
Yeah, so
like I
that's
said,
pretty
before my time,
significant.
it
My
was a
guess,
huge-
if it could have been corrected just by the dam alone, they might have done that as opposed to remove the houses. So if they remove the houses, my guess is there's a larger backwater effect that's happening.
Okay, great. And then my question too, or my big concern was what Councilor Rivard already brought up, but community lake. So and I know you said you would do analysis before this happened, but what if your analysis showed that community lake would be highly affected and might get very, very low if we did do this? Then would this project not happen based on that?
We're not anticipating that, and like I said, right now, the inlets that are going into those side ponds are only about 2 foot down from the water levels that we have. So again, we wouldn't expect it to be completely disconnected, but we would work on improvement of those flows. So we would look at that inlet and potentially alternate inlets that we could have to create more circulation. So that would be part of the analysis, and that restoration would be part of it. But there's no question, as you go into a project like this, the analysis has to feed the decision-making process. We will be coming back to the town with that information, and decisions will be made on that. Sometimes there are projects when you do enough analysis that you find other things you didn't know that might preclude removal. We don't envision that being the case on this one, but we surely would never close the door to that idea until we have the data in front of us.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I would love to see that before we make a final decision. Because
of course.
I always, one of my community lake, I always thought was kind of something that I think we can kind of utilize more in town as a recreational. It's kind of a nice thing, but it doesn't get used that much. So I would hate to see that. Be affected negatively if this goes through.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I would just comment that the agreement provides the right to terminate through the design stage. So you'll see, we'll be discussing the design, and if we think there's a problem that can't be solved, that can be dealt with at that time.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Laffin.
Thank you, and that was one of my questions. To echo what was said earlier, the backup was great. The way it was presented, all the information included, so thank you. I would think the biggest loss when I first read it was that when I was a kid, I always just try and look over the car seat window to see how high the water was, and the waterfall we had in town. That was like the waterfall. We were a big deal. We had a waterfall, and you're going to take that away from our children. It's fine. But
I'm known as a waterfall remover.
Yeah.
I'm just
so I liked the explanation of we're basically returning it back to the way it was. There's no longer mechanical needs and whatever. The backup discusses or it references the Wallace Dam as the first barrier upstream.
No, it's the first barrier on the river.
On the river, right.
Yes.
Right. So is Hanover Dam Pond, is that the next?
Yes.
And then, so what's
And that has a fishway on
Just
it.
out of curiosity, so is that going to stay, or are you looking to adjust?
That dam's going to
Well-
stay in place, and it has a fishway on it right now. Do you want to
That
speak
works better than our fishway,
to the fishway on that one?
ladder or
One
whatever.
works better than yours, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a hydroelectric dam, as you know now.
Yeah.
Active.
New England Hydro came in and put in a
Archimedes screw.
Archimedes screw.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was still working. I know there were issues.
They've been having issues.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure it's state, but the fishway's open and operating now.
Okay, and so that's not a true barrier, or it's a barrier working
Well,
successfully
so
through?
any fishway is, it's not
Still a
like a
barrier.
removal, right? Certain sizes of certain species of fish are not going to be able to utilize it. And
Yeah.
that's what makes removal so attractive, right? You get complete passage of all the organisms that want to move through the site.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that at Hanover, but we are passing the fish species that I'm most concerned with, the highly migratory species. And so, yeah, that's an effective fish passage. And then above that, I know there's been removals.
Yeah, actually, we, Save the Sound has removed 2 dams above that.
Okay. And timeline for?
Timeline for the whole thing?
Yeah,
So-
to get us to the study point till you come back with whatever.
Yeah, so we first have to hire a consulting firm to move forward. I thought, yeah, you do have a thing in here. We have to hire a consulting firm. After we have the memorandum of agreement signed, we'll move forward with that. That'll take a month or 2 to bring a consulting firm on board. It will probably take about a year that the consulting firm will work on design and permitting, maybe another 6 months to get the final permitting. Then we would go out to bid for construction. We would have to make sure that we'd receive the rest of the funding for this project at that time. That time we would get a better engineer's estimate for removal as well. So we would be able to see if there's some additional grants that we need to apply for construction, and then we would move forward from there.
Right.
And I do want to speak to the childhood view thing a little too. While I agree that is an attractive thing to do, and I myself was on many rivers as a kid and played on many quote-unquote waterfalls that were actually old mill dams. But as I said earlier, especially low-head dams are attractive nuisance. They draw people in and they draw kids in, and they really are a drowning hazard. So it's not the thing we want the kid to be attracted to. We want them to be attracted to the river. So.
Sounds like you just hate waterfalls.
No, no, it is funny though. But of course I do get accused of that because I do a lot of dam removal projects. But no, I don't. And it is interesting because anytime I hear on the news that someone is stuck on a waterfall, they pan over to it and I see it's a dam and I'm like, that's not a waterfall.
Destroying children. Okay, all right, thank you very much, guys.
Sure thing.
Anyone else? Okay, I had a couple. Given that this dam, I mean, it's an ongoing constant spillway already.
Yes, spill of flow, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the water, it's not holding back water. Well, theoretically it is,
Just that dead storage.
but only whatever it's holding.
Yeah.
Any additional water is going over.
Yes.
So does it really serve a flood control
No.
purpose for the downstream? I wanted to confirm that in my own
Yeah,
mind.
well, and one of the best ways you can tell with a dam when it serves a flood control purpose is you can stand on the spillway and it's dry. And you'll look and either the impoundment is quote unquote empty or partially empty. That allows the impoundment to fill up during a flood, and that's what creates flood attenuation. When you stand on a spillway and your feet are wet, and the entire pond is full with what we were talking about before, dead storage, then it has no ability to attenuate floods.
And I'm just trying to imagine, get my head around this. I was going to ask about the height differences between upstream and downstream. But, I mean, my first thought, is it, you take this thing down, is it just going to, is the bottom going to just lean down or slope down, which is kind of weird, but possible. But then I saw that there are areas behind upstream where the depth reaches 8 feet. and then you go over a 2 to 3 or 4 foot fall, and you have areas where maybe it's 1 or 2, isn't it reasonable to assume that the basic bottom of the river below the dam is pretty much the same as it is above the dam? It's just the dam's making the water higher.
Rivers in general, the slope of a river in general, is going to have a slope to it.
Right.
And normally on a free-flowing river system, the water surface elevation is somewhat parallel to that slope. So that's the kind of depth you have. So if you look downstream, that's a better representation of what you're going to see now continuing on through. So you will have a gradient continuing on the bottom of the bed, and the water level will also be on a gradient. Dams create kind of a break in that gradient where it goes up like this, and all of a sudden it flattens out just for the period of the impoundment. So that's what's going to change. You're not going to have that flat water condition anymore. You're going to have a gradient that mirrors a lot more what the bed of the river is, which is a gradient going upstream. Now, we do have a little bit of a grade break at the next bridge upstream, so we will be looking at that with the hydraulic analysis to make sure that that is fully passable.
Thank you. I was concerned about whether there would need to be a dramatic amount of material removal upstream, and then it doesn't sound like it.
There's not. Now,
Right.
behind some dams are completely full of sediment.
Right.
And then there can be, but on this one, that is not the case.
Okay,
We're
great.
not getting a significant amount of impounded sediment behind this.
All right. And again, and it is reasonable to assume that, again, the average running depth of the water is going to be similar to what it is downstream now?
Yes, exactly. Downstream and upstream of the impoundment. Those are the two best places to look at what it's going to look like afterwards.
Thank you. My last question is, I'm not very mobile anymore, so I've never had a chance to do some climbing, but I don't recall what it looks like under Hall Avenue where there was the old dam that originally broke. Is that wide open?
That is that grade break that I was talking to you about.
Right.
And Alex has actually been out in the field and investigated that area.
Talk about Community
You found,
Lake, I'm curious.
Riprap?
Yeah, I
Stone
have a photo
riprap?
if you want it.
I'd love to see photos. If I tried to get down there and take a look, I'd float downstream. Okay. And that's which side?
That's on the east side looking west.
East side looking west.
On the upstream.
Yes. So this is the lake part.
The lake is.
And the river's down that, or the other way around?
The lake's behind us.
Right. Here. Okay. Oh, so there's nothing there.
In terms of.
Yeah, the dam is gone.
I
The
know
former
dam's
dam
gone,
is
but
definitely
nothing
gone.
It's pretty much just a bridge over and a free flowing.
Yes.
And there's scour protection, as you can see, on the sides of the
Thank you.
bank, but then also,
Yeah.
under in the channel there, there's scour protection.
So the water that is still remains in what was Community Lake, is that pretty much just a wide river?
Yeah, what happened is Community Lake had a dam, and the dam is now
Yes.
gone, so that's completely gone. That's what was under the bridge. But Community Lake had some dredging associated with it. So the three remaining ponds are kind of isolated from the main river. They're hydrologically connected, as I mentioned. So you have the main channel here, and they're off to the sides.
Okay.
They're off to the sides. So they're not backed up from the main river. They have like their own controls leaving those little side ponds.
I see. Okay.
Different from the original Community Lake, which
Right,
of
of
course
course.
inundated that entire area, and the dam was, right at that bridge.
And it's safe to assume that if we ever wanted to restore any part of that to a bigger lake, we would have to dam up.
You would have to put the dam back.
You'd have to
You
put
would
the dam back.
Yeah, the Community Lake dam
Right.
back in to do that, yes.
Right. Okay. I'm all set. Thank you. Any other counselors?
Looks like it.
Yes, Counselor Fishbein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am concerned about the community lake aspect of this. when the fish ladder went in, you know, I don't want to, it's sort of self-serving to say that, you know, I was down there and I was like, how the hell are the fish going to find this thing? And
Smart
you know,
man.
It's easy for me to say that today, right, because it sort of fits. But I did have that thought, and I trusted the professionals, right? I mean, everybody was there, and, you know, accolades and all that stuff. So now I'm hearing that this is the next thing, and we got to do this, and that we don't think there's going to be any impact to the community lake. But we don't know that sitting here today. I looked at the agreement. It appears the way this procedurally is that we would vote on this and it wouldn't matter whether or not there is any impact to community lake. It's out of our hands, which is...
That's not the case. So that's what we were saying earlier, and what your
stepped
lawyer...
out, so maybe,
And
yeah.
this is, yeah, I don't know if you want to
But
repeat
we have the
what you
right to
said.
terminate through the design stage. So during that process, they'll be reporting back as to what all of their findings are from their analysis, which will include that. And we can say, you know what, we don't like this design, we're done.
So considering that we would potentially be voting on this tonight, that design stage may not come back during this council.
Okay, but it's still going to come back.
Understood. I think it would be procedurally proper for us to mention as part of the vote so that it carries along, because a future council...
But we're going to be part of this, we're going to have executed this agreement.
Understood.
So
that
it's...
silent as to any concerns regarding community lake. And a future council would have to resurrect the minutes or something. Somebody would have to know about that to flag it. I'm just concerned about that whole
Well, we
aspect.
definitely know about it. I mean, we are doing a hydrologic and hydraulic analysis as part of this, and you will be informed on any impacts to that system.
Understood, but the vote tonight is an up or down, essentially.
No,
Well, it says discussion and possible action, so that's...
I think it's just
Well,
for the
it's,
memorandum.
yeah, it would be, you're approving, you're authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement, because they can't go, they're raising funds to do all this activity, they have to have a commitment from the town to go forward. So, I mean, we could add a sentence stating that the analysis of Community Lake will be presented to the council, I mean, it's going to be anyway, but presented to the council no later than the design phase in order for us to have that opportunity to...
I mean, I would suggest something more like that our approval, should it be tonight, is contingent upon our acceptance of whatever impact to Community Lake, something like that.
Well, I think that covers it, though. I mean, they need to know that the town is committed to do the project, with the caveat that if we don't like the design, we can say, you know, thank you, but we don't like it. We don't want to, we're not going to accept that. But they need the commitment from the town. They're raising funds to do this, and they're spending real money, so.
I totally got that.
Yeah, okay.
I totally understand that. I just want to reserve the right legally, because if it's not in the agreement, and it's just like said here as an offhand comment or something like that, it really doesn't have the value that I would want to have, to be able to, you know, relook at this.
My colleague, Paul Woodworth, just came up and he said, you do really have several off-ramps before then. Not only will we obviously review the analysis with you and have discussions with you then, but the permits have to be signed by the town. So to move forward with construction, the permits have to be set. So you would, even after design phases, you would have to sign off on the permits. We can't move forward without that.
The concern is, though, that this body doesn't sign off on those contracts. We are authorizing the mayor, which is the executive branch of the government, to do whatever he feels is necessary. So we're a separate but somewhat equal. No, we're not equal at all. We have minimal power compared to the mayor. That's what the agreement says, that we're essentially giving all power that we have with regard to this project to the mayor. And I'm saying that
At what stage do you do the analysis, would you do the analysis?
We do the analysis first thing, so.
That would be first thing.
Yeah, so we have to do the field work first. You have to do survey associated with that first. Then you have to run the hydrologic and hydraulic models. But that's part of the initial analysis. Even before you go into the design phase, you have that analysis done first. So it is an early step in the design process to understand the implications and mitigate them, and come back and say, okay, well, here's what we're expecting for water surface elevation changes, here's how we'd like to address them, and mitigate them then.
So we could clarify that upon the completion of the analysis involving Community Lake, there will be a report back to the Town Council, at which point, if you want to stop it then, I mean, you can, because we can stop it at any time before the design phase is complete, and since that is before the design phase, we could add that as additional language.
That's the only part, personally, that's the only part that I'm concerned in having the ability to, which brings me to the next thing. When Community Lake was a real lake, what was the effect on the downstream?
Again, that was not a flood control dam. So it was a similar type of scenario where the dam went all the way across. The water behind in the impoundment was dead storage, and all flow coming in was the same as flow leaving. So it didn't have a flood attenuation effect, although I have not done an analysis of Community Lake. The bridge embankment itself right there might have been enough of a constriction that in combination with the dam, it was having some ability to attenuate some flows downstream. But then I would have assumed that the continued bridge restriction right now might have a similar effect. But I don't know. We haven't done that analysis yet.
Is that in the offing? I mean, because I'm thinking since you're...
Well, we're not doing analysis of Community Dam because it's not there anymore. But yeah, we will be doing a full analysis.
Well, is it possible to expand this project to, I'm just trying to think outside the box. You're taking a certain dam and you're getting rid of it. Is it possible to perhaps look at moving that dam to the end of Community Lake to try and work on restoring Community Lake?
From an ecological point of view, there would be no reason why Save the Sound would be involved in the construction of another dam on this river. So our focus would be to get to free-flowing conditions and restore as much ecological value as possible. Right now, the 3 separate ponds that make up the remaining Community Lake work a lot better for us ecologically on this river system. So as an ecological restoration group, we would not be involved in that. It doesn't mean that the town couldn't consider putting a dam in there, but it would never be a flood storage dam. You just don't have the storage capabilities there. And if it was even attempting to be a flood storage dam, it would have to be an empty impoundment. You know what I mean? And I think that goes probably counter to what you were hoping if Community Lake was there again. You probably would want it to be a lake.
Yeah, I just thinking back to our current plan of conservation and development, right? I think we dealt with trying to do something with that body, or those bodies. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure thing.
Okay, anybody else? Very good. Would anyone from the public like to comment? Okay, yes, please.
Larry Morgenstein, South Main Street. A question well, first of all, when I saw this in the backing material, I was very excited about the idea of this, to restore the river to its natural historic flow, to have the fish return. I've followed for many years in Washington State, they've taken down dams on the Elwha River, and you've got historic salmon runs being restored. And it's taking time, but they've seen great success there. So the idea of making the Quinnipiac cleaner, getting vegetation there that should be more natural, to have the fish restored, really is an exciting idea to me. What I wanted to ask the people from Save the Sound is, what is the timeline for everything that you're planning? How long would the analyses take before we'd see any action? And then further down the road, what we would see over time with the river and the changes in it, if you would speak to that.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we would be shooting right now for construction in 2028, but depending on how the design and permitting process went, there's a chance that we'd be talking about construction, removal of the dam in 2029. So that's kind of our window, either 2028 or 2029 is the likely window depending on permitting.
And what would we see in terms of, hopefully, in terms of return of the fisheries and the wildlife and vegetation, the flora and fauna?
I'll lightly speak, and then I'll pass it over to Tim on this one. With dam removals, it's an amazing immediate response. So we see fish passing these sites within the first migratory period after the dam is removed, and we see riverine fish using it within the first week after a barrier is removed. So it's one of the most immediate ecological responses to these types of projects.
And just for public who maybe didn't see the backing material, this is at no cost to the taxpayers of Wallingford. The town isn't paying for anything?
That is true. All the funding sources we're looking at right now are state funding and mitigation funding. And I will say that Tim here has written a diadramus restoration plan for the Quinnipiac River as well. And that plan is a good read if you want to hear about the potential for restoration in this system.
That's great. I know there's a lot of dams in Connecticut that serve no purpose, and again, it serves as, in some ways, it's a danger, and again, we're missing out. Quinnipiac River could be more of an asset to bring back people that could fish there and so on and so forth. So this is great. The only other thing I'll say before leaving is that I understand that we've had the desire to restore Community Lake, but it's an artificial lake. It would defeat what we're talking about here tonight to then go up the river, not that far, and restore a dam that would keep the progress of taking down this dam. It wouldn't make any sense. Thank you.
And just to let you know, we do have copies of the backing or the background material here, if you want a copy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mortensen.
Not everybody in the public gets to see the backing, unfortunately. So you did a very thorough job. Again, I was very excited, and you really did a great job. I hope this goes through.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would anyone else like to comment? Okay. All right, in the back.
Hi, Sheila Tierney. Speaking of Garden Road, are we still storing or dumping all the snow there? Is that going to have any impact from the town, dumping everything there?
I would not be able to answer that myself, although I would have to assume that whatever impact the dumping is having on the river now, it will have after the dam's gone. If nothing else, there'll be a quicker flushing of materials, right?
They're aware of this.
So you're saying they use it for snow storage, and it's
yes.
within the floodplain?
It's Garden Road that flooded.
So it's within the floodplain? Yeah, so again, I assume you're using it for storage just because the river will wash it away during the melt season, and so.
I want to make sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, okay, well, that is good to know. I didn't know that. We can look into that.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
Thank you. All right. So we didn't have a motion on the agenda to make, so can someone?
So it would be a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement. If you want to add add a provision requiring a report back to the council upon completion of the analysis of the impact on Community Lake, that would be fine.
Just, if I may.
Yes, certainly, go ahead.
I just, with all due respect, would like more than just a report.
What do you want?
Well, I want the option to be able to
Oh, well, I mean, that's already in there, but we can reiterate that at that point in time, if the council doesn't, you can vote to
Yeah, I just want that
cancel
clear.
the agreement. Yeah, that's fine.
Because, I mean, looking at the timeline, it's not going to be this council, so I just, out of respect for my future founders.
All right, I'll take a crack at it.
Yeah, thank you, somebody.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the execution of the agreement with Save the Sound Incorporated for the removal of the Wallace Dam in accordance with the terms outlined in the proposed agreement, contingent upon the Town Council receiving a report at the completion of the analysis of the impact on Community Lake, followed by the Town Council's approval.
Second?
That sounds pretty good. What do you think, Counselor? You good? Okay. All right. Any discussion? Any objections or discussion from the public? Okay. I will call for a roll call vote, please.
Allenson,
Yes.
Carmody,
Yes.
Fishbein,
Yes.
Laffin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Rivard,
Yes.
Rosacci,
Yes?
Tata,
No.
Testa.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much for all the information and a really
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
next item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve a bid waiver to purchase additional ClearGov software modules as requested by the Board of Ed.
Second?
Okay. If you have the Cliff Notes 30-second version of what's happening, that would be amazing.
Good evening, and thanks for seeing us tonight.
Of course.
I'm Dominic Barone, business manager for the school system.
Thank you.
Karen Vayu, IT director for the schools.
So we would like to purchase a product called ClearGov. It's a budgeting tool, and it'll provide us the ability to do budgeting for, they break it up. They've got multiple modules. We're looking at 3 modules, one being the personnel module, 2 being the operations module, which is basically everything in the budget besides personnel. And then the third piece is the digital budget book, if you will. So, you know, for the website, and so you can view it nicely on the website and all that. It's a product that the Board of Ed and the superintendent have approved to purchase. And we're asking for a bid waiver of $73,602. And this is for, it's a 3-year license for the product for all 3 of those modules. And the reason we want to put the 3 years in is a couple things. One, we save a little bit on the increases. We could lock in the price and not feel the increases for a few years. And also, there's a lot of build on this, a product like this. So we're going to spend a lot of work in the first year. So we want to make sure we got a couple of years locked in, and don't want it to get cut out of the budget in the immediate future, because we'll lose all the work and not really get a lot of benefit from it. It's a product that's it's designed specifically for governments, both the town side and the Board of Ed. It's integrated with our accounting system, Munis, and it's got a good presence in Connecticut. I've talked to some of the districts and towns that are using it, and most of them are very happy with it, and we think it's a great fit, and that's just the direction we want to go in.
So if I understand this correctly, we're already purchasing the personnel budgeting module, decided you wanted to add a couple more modules for the reasons you stated. So the bid waiver is to pay for the additional modules to go with the ones you already purchased.
In addition to
in addition.
For 3 years as opposed to the 1 year.
How did you purchase or bid out the original personal budgeting module.
Well, so the original, so I'll just give it the whole history on it. We've known about this product for a while because we see it at the trade shows, et cetera. We wanted to move forward with it. We thought we could move forward with it because they have an agreement with CROG, the Capital Regional Government, so we thought we could purchase it under that agreement. We were not able to do that under the purchasing guidelines. And so to lock in the pricing, because they were going to have an increase this month, actually in April, we told them, all right, we'll move forward with this one and we'll go for a bid waiver on the rest of it. So we really wanted to get the full 3 modules
I got that
together.
part, yeah. But how did you buy the original module?
Well, the original module's about $11,000, so it's under the bid threshold.
Oh,
with
okay.
With a sole source type
Yes.
letter. But to just clarify, we were going to, we have a requisition in for it, but I really, if we can't go forward all 3 of them, it doesn't make sense to buy one of them.
Okay, very good.
You need all 3 of them really to, or at least the 2, the operations and the.
All right. So the finance department, all of your people and the Board of Ed administration have all signed off on this.
Correct, and also.
Very good.
Just incidentally, the town is also implementing the same product.
Right, okay. Any questions? Mr. Fishbein?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When did I was looking through your minutes, when did the Board of Ed sign off on the bid waiver?
What bid, we did not sign off on a bid waiver.
They sent on.
You just made a representation to the chairman that the Board of Ed approved of this.
Well, we brought it to the Board of Ed, and they approved us purchasing it. If I didn't, what I meant to say was, we presented this at the board meeting, said we'd like to purchase it, here's the cost, could we go forward?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was my question, because
All
to do a bid waiver, essentially, the Board of Ed approves the administration to come to the town council to get a bid waiver, and I was just wondering, when did the Board of Ed do that?
2 operations, or 2 Board of Ed meetings ago, but they do not always approve, yeah. I mean.
I was just, because I did look through your minutes, and
Okay.
I'll look, and I believe you, I mean,
Yeah.
and I'll look and.
But it won't say bid waiver because they really can't give us a bid waiver. They approve the money for this. So 2 operations committee meetings ago, we went there, we said it costs X. We would like to use that, we would like to transfer money to purchase it. And then at that point, we thought we could purchase it under this agreement with CROG. And when we talked to the purchasing department, they said no. So then we were kind of stuck because we couldn't purchase it. And so we looked for a different route.
So that's a little bit different. So the bid waiver process allows you to circumvent the regular purchasing process that's in the ordinances, right? It allows you to come to the town council and say, we don't want to go out to bid on this. So was the Board of Ed told that we don't have the money for, or we can't just do this, we don't have the money for it, that we're going to need a bid waiver? Was the Board of Ed told that?
Well, yes, but we do have the money for it, okay, because they authorized us to purchase it. And when we initially brought it 2 meetings ago, we thought we could purchase it. Then when we found out we couldn't, we had a meeting last week, Thursday night, and we notified them and said, by the way, we haven't been able to move forward ClearGov because we can't purchase it through the CROG agreement, and so now we're going for a bid waiver for the product.
Okay, so once again, and I think I've asked the question a few times, because you just mentioned that the Board of Ed was told that you were going to seek a bid waiver.
Correct.
Okay, and that was done 2 regular Board of Education meetings ago?
No.
Okay.
That was done the last meeting, which was Thursday night.
Okay.
The meeting before was when they approved the purchase of it because at that point, we did not believe we needed a bid waiver. We
Okay,
thought we
understood.
could buy it under the CROG agreement.
Yeah, so the first meeting you said, we want to buy this thing.
Yeah.
You thought that you could buy it.
We need 85 or whatever.
That
Yeah,
process.
Yes.
You found out in the interim
Yeah.
that you couldn't.
Yeah.
Came back to the board and said, listen, we need to get this thing through
Yeah.
an alternative method. Okay.
Correct.
Now, why not go out to bid for this? these services? Because this is new. You bought one module, right?
Well-
Because it was underneath the threshold.
Correct.
And, I mean, is there nobody else in the world that renders this?
No, it's a pretty small group. There's probably like really 3 vendors. But we think this is the best fit. It's, you know, I think the other 2 would be more expensive.
Why do you, so without going out, see, that's the problem. When we decide not to go out to bid and we just assume that it's going to be more expensive, you're totally gutting the ordinance. I mean, the ordinance says you have to follow a procedure. Otherwise, you know, we've had it in the past, like the police department. They've been using Motorola radios for years. It works with their system. It makes sense. But this is new, right? So convince me why you shouldn't test the market for the benefit of the taxpayers.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One is we think this is the right fit. 2, I believe, you know, getting some ballpark pricing, I believe it would have been the least expensive. I also know that there was a price increase in April, so, you know, that we locked them in, we locked in on the old price to move forward with it. And then I guess what I would say, and yeah, you may not agree with it, but it's software, and you know, everybody could claim they could do what we want them to do. I mean, we could have someone say, "Oh, I got this Excel template that will do your, you know, your personnel stuff. And I got another one that does this," and then you could put it out on the web. So I think it's not, if we were buying the same desk or almost exactly the same desk, I think, you know, you want to bid them because you want to pay I don't think it's a commodity, I guess. I think that the software is different. They're all unique. And I also like the idea that the town's working on this, because then, you know, down the road, we could help each other out.
I think to add to that, for consistency, when the budgets are displayed on the website, it'll have the same look and feel between the town and the school's budget, which I think is also important.
But we're not, I mean, we're not trying to skirt the purchasing agreement, I mean, or the purchasing regulations. That's why we're here. I mean, we understood incorrectly that we could have bought it, and then, you know, when we realized that we that's why we're here. We came here and said, can we buy this on the bid waiver?
No, I mean, I think we have a fundamental disagreement. You bought the one module because it was underneath the threshold, which got your foot in the door.
Yeah, but I could pull that back. Right, I could pull that back. To be clear, like we put a requisition and we told them, look, and we're, you know, we need to go forward all 3. We're not gonna, you know, if you say no to this, we're not gonna buy that one module. We're in the process of it, and we're just gonna probably pull the plug on it because it doesn't make sense at that point to go forward.
I just, you know, we have the ordinance for a reason. And I wouldn't want to see, you know, the police department all of a sudden say, we want to buy police cars from a particular vendor because we think they'll be cheaper from that vendor, you know. And then it just, the ordinance is there to protect the taxpayer. And we are dealing with, it's software, right? So you can do an RFP perhaps, or a hybrid that has certain specifications. You could sit down with them and interview them as to what their product would be like. The one linchpin you have here, in my mind, is that the town is using similar software. Maybe the purchase should have been done at the same time by everyone. I'm just having, you know, we run into this a lot, and anyway, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Rivard.
Good evening. So I'm a little familiar with this because I had been, when I was, you know, learning about different systems the town uses, I was asking, you know, whether or not we had an integrated kind of asset management budget tool, and there are a handful that exist. Now, you guys said that the town was planning to use ClearGov to integrate with Munis. Have we already done that? I didn't think we had a software package yet.
What else? I know that that I believe they've purchased it. That takes a
Okay.
while to implement.
Okay.
All right?
All right. I mean, is
I know
anything
they
else?
purchased it. I don't believe they did.
Okay. Okay. So it's first I'm hearing about that
Okay.
because I'd asked about, OpenGov and a couple other
Yeah.
potential applications. Okay. So my biggest concern when I saw this was making sure that whatever the Board of Ed might use, because I think these tools everyone's using this type of thing. We're a little bit, I think this is a catch-up thing, in my opinion. We use similar tools in private sector. But the Board of Ed budget needs to seamlessly integrate with the town budget. All of these things need to talk together, otherwise the town will not be able to maximize its usability of this. So, and I personally haven't heard of how this all is thinking to work together, maybe partly because, the IT director or whatever, but I would feel much more comfortable if I understood how this fit with the plan for the town.
Well, I think it would operate similar. We have the same accounting systems. We run separate databases because we have different processes and different configurations. And the same with the budget. When we have different structures in our accounts, we have different timelines. We're kind of, ahead of we have to get ours done because, of our rules, and then we bring it in here. So, I mean, it's more of a, we're able to support each other. Okay, and it's, it integrates with the accounting system. We both have the same accounting systems, so you could get the information out of the financial system to build the tables of the employees, et cetera, and then feed it back in after you've done your calculations.
And that's the munis element you spoke
Correct.
of, which is what already exists in town. But a lot of people have talked about, hey, what about in the future if people could report on asset management issues like, town properties have this issue, and then follow those projects through till completion. Those are opportunities that exist in these tools, and they could follow them through departments. And if we don't, I fear that once you embark down on one of these paths, you have converted to that system, and if we haven't thought about those things holistically, we might fall short with the integration. But, I'm okay with this kind of as like a pilot, but it feels like we're kind of stepping into it, and I haven't even seen it. Have you guys seen a demo from them on the capabilities?
We've seen multiple demos on it. We've also seen end products on, they're in 50 different installs just in Connecticut. And so we've been on some of the town websites and boards to see the budget, the digital budget book also, which is the end, one of the end products. They have other modules. There's a capital projects module, I believe, and which I think the town is going to implement. But we don't really do capital projects.
What's the timeline that you're trying to meet in order to secure the better pricing?
This month.
I'll be honest, I'd feel more comfortable if the IT director and the schools came in and kind of commented that this is an integrated package for the future that's going to be able to be, the full usability for the town would happen and fit together well. I'm trusting you on a bid waiver because you're trying to catch pricing that, very quickly. If we could wait and do a vote at the next council meeting with that IT director's assurance, I'd feel better personally.
Well, we have the IT director for the town.
I am the IT director.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
No, I meant for the town.
School.
For the town. Because I personally think these things need to work hand in hand as a town. You talked about wanting to have a common front, to the taxpayers and the residents. I haven't seen anything. The fact that you mentioned the town is considering it, I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah, okay. But I guess I would just say that, we're always going to have two separate databases at this point because of the different timelines and the structures, to do this. And we have we start our budget at the end of October. We're doing ours. Ours is almost done when all the other departments are really working on it. And ours is a very different structure from the accounting, the accounts, and all the accounts, and just the composition of it. So I think that I don't know that we're going to have one installation that we're all going to work off of because of the way they need to be tailored for what everybody's needs are.
That may be the case, but it would be nice if the person on the town side were able to talk about that. I think that the benefits could be broader if they work together in the long run.
So just to explain too, they are two separate installs. We have two separate munis. These would be two separate purchases and work independently. They would have the same functionality, if you will, but they wouldn't be talking to each other.
Got it. So capital appropriations or bonding appropriations on the town side would still have to be, like, I guess, manually carted over to the school side based on the vision today.
Well, no, we don't. I mean, we don't really. That's all.
It would be an automated request.
Yeah, but those are. I mean,
I may be light years ahead of things here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's possible that I'm thinking way beyond the today. But I think the system you put in place to integrate with Munis will possibly determine how much integration we could have in the future and how many of the tools we could use for forward-looking forecasting.
Sure.
But that's why I would love to have someone kind of attest to what you said that says, yeah, the town's looking at this seriously as the tool the town might use.
Okay, anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. We have Councilor Laffin, quite a few.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate Councilor Fishbein's concerns on the bid waiver thing. When I heard you speaking, I knew what you meant, but I knew that it was going to flag that series of conversations. Historically, for technology, especially software, I always support the bid waiver because I don't think you can go out to bid the same way. I've bought software where I work. You go through several demos, and you don't want to end up with the cheapest one if it's just not a good fit. You can do like an RFP type of thing, but then we're basically kind of getting to the same place. So I support you on this and the bid waiver. Regarding the two different systems, I consulted with former Councilor Regan as well. I know our IT director, it's day 2, but they are, so these are two completely different systems. We're not connected to them, they're not connected to us. There would be no cost savings to be on the same program because of the size. And that this is probably a better product for the Board of Ed because they're a smaller system that, and it's not as robust as what we may need for other uses. So I just wanted to share all those things. I think those are the major concerns that came up. So that's it. Thanks.
Councilor Allenson.
Just going back to the ClearGov, we did have a presentation on it, not in this term. It was thought to be something that we were moving toward with our former IT director. I don't know that we actually purchased software, but I do know that we were moving in that direction, and then the position became unfilled. So I suspect that is what happened there. It was well before now. It was in June of 2024 that I saw that this conversation was initiated. On the software and on the actual request, I don't have an issue with this. I think getting you out of Munis, and I mean, I know you're not out of Munis, but it's a much more people-friendly view, and much less like working in DOS or with a green screen. I'm happy to get you guys into the modern technological world. It's always great to have a tool that is kind of ready for you, and I do view this tool as kind of an easy plug and play tool that you can modulate as you are trying to do. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Councilor Versace.
I just also wanted to say I fully support a bid waiver for software. I am fully aware of what happens with the budget, and anything that can make this easier, I do fully support. And I also work on software implementations, so I know how these things go, and it really does behoove us as a town to have a bid waiver for software. So I fully support this. I echo Councilor Laffin and Councilor Allison's points. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fishbein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So traditionally, I support bid waivers for software also. The presentation, though, in those cases is that we're already working with the software, and therefore it's an upgrade, it's some sort of thing like that. This is a new venture. So I think this is not something that we already have a relationship with. So I think this is a distinction. So I just want to point that out. Mr. Brown, I'm once again going through your minutes, and I looked at the last, the Board of Education meetings. I didn't see anything on there. Are you saying it was a Board of Ed meeting or an ops meeting, or, because I looked at the two ops meetings too.
So what specifically are you trying to get out of the minutes? The Board of Ed, like approving something? Because if you look at two ops meetings ago, and I don't have the date off the top of my head.
April 20th was the last one.
So
the one before that was March 16.
Correct, and there should be an item under the first section where we have the projection, and there's a bunch of items. There should be transfers. I think there were two. There was one for this, and there was one for moving costs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the minutes of that particular meeting, March 16.
Okay, they would have sent it via consent to the agenda.
So if I look at the consent agenda, or if I look at the agenda, which is going to have consent.
If you look at the agenda of that meeting, okay,
I see 4.1.5.2.
Okay.
Is Clear Gov software, $87,705, 3-year agreement.
And then there's another item there. Okay, so they sent that to consent. They approved that purchase.
Okay. So my initial ask was, because it's my understanding that the Board of Education approves the board employees administration coming before the town council for a bid waiver.
No, no, it's not always the case. We've come before here, and the reason this was on the board agenda was because of the amount we didn't have. We needed to transfer money for it. Okay, so they do not have to approve us to come here, but we've. When it went on the agenda, we notified them that we were coming here, and so that might not be in the minutes. But if you look at the meeting, I said, during the report at the end where Ms. Reagan goes over the ops section, I said, by the way, we haven't been able to buy the ClearGov software yet because we have to get a bid waiver, and I'll be going to the bid waiver meeting, or I'll be going to town council to ask for that.
So procedurally, the Board of Ed never voted on you coming to us for the bid waiver?
Not directly, no. They voted on us to buy the product.
Because that's what's supposed to happen, but I guess that's another day. Okay, well, that was my point at the beginning, because I didn't see any vote.
Yeah, the vote, and I'm sorry if I wasn't clear, the vote was to authorize the purchase of the product. That was the vote, and that's what I was referring to. They, went from.
Understood, but my point is that the Board of Ed essentially, because they are the Board of Education, are the ones that should be deciding whether or not this item goes out to bid. It's not administration, it is the Board of Ed.
But they don't have the authority to give the bid waiver.
Yeah, if I may just step in, Mr. Counselor, they can't request a bid waiver from the board, they have to request it from us.
Agreed, but
So if the board votes to approve the purchase, we better check their policies. Their policy may well be, they go ahead with the purchase, and they go out to bid, and if they choose to use a bid waiver, they have to come to us for permission.
and that.
You're suggesting that they need to get permission from the Board of Ed first?
Yes, because.
Okay.
It's at that step that they have to decide, I'm sitting here saying, well, you should go out to bid. I'm generally saying that, right? It's the Board of Education that should be operating and making that decision. I shouldn't be in the position of forcing that on the Board of Education. And then the Board of Education is cajoled, convinced by their staff, no, we really need this, we really need to get the bid waiver, and they vote to approve their staff to come to us. So they have that imprimatur. Right now, they don't have that imprimatur.
But you're suggesting that that's required?
I believe it is required.
Well, and then we need to answer that.
Yeah.
We need to, before we say any more and we talk anymore, we need to find out if that's if that's in fact true. Because if it is, then you have a case there. I don't know. Anyone know?
I don't know the answer offhand, but I would say that the first starting point where Councilor Fishbein was looking to see exactly what was done in the Board of Ed minutes to determine whether or not it was a purchase that was approved or a bid waiver, and then from there determine what the process is.
Yeah, my point was that I don't disagree that they approved the purchase, but the next step, how do we pay for it? Well, we have a procedure. Arguably, they wouldn't be able to approve the purchase because the bid waiver procedure is a deviation from the purchasing process. So ordinarily, the Board of Education, like general government, has to go through the purchasing process. So at the point that Dominic feels that the purchasing ordinance is inappropriate, the bid process, then I believe procedurally he has to go to the Board of Ed to convince them to get their authority to then come to us to put the whole thing together.
We have not done that since I've been here. I mean,
I understand.
And so I guess I don't understand where those, where that policy is.
I see that in other towns. It
I understand.
Certainly makes sense. You can't jump the shark, and just say, I think they have the opportunity to weigh in on the procedure.
Well, I think they know about it, and if they were concerned, I think they would have said something on Thursday night when I told them we had to go this way. And I mean, I think, they they have the ability to authorize us to purchase something. They could, correct? I mean, they can move the money and say, please purchase this. And then, we have to figure out how we can purchase it.
But the purchase itself, they can authorize you to purchase a wheelbarrow. But there's a procedure to get the wheelbarrow.
And that's understood. That's why we're here. But
Yeah.
I don't believe there's a procedure. I don't believe there's a requirement for them to approve the bid waiver because, we've done it. We come in when we need to. This happened to be a larger item, and we also, had the presentation to them, so they're well aware of the product.
Then they should have voted on it, as far as I'm concerned, and then that's fine. But I think they have out of respect for them, they have the opportunity to direct the administrative staff as to how to proceed. And right now, we just don't have that. So, we're talking about individuals that are, for the most part, they're volunteers. They don't have a lot of experience. They don't know. I don't want to denigrate anyone, but, things come before us. We're like, oh, wow, we can vote on that? So I just think procedurally that's what should have happened here.
Well, I'm reading their purchasing policies, and they're available to look at. I'm going to slow us down for a minute while I look at it. So we are being asked to vote this evening.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
So if we approve to this tonight, and then you go home and the chairperson of the Board of Ed is blowing up your phone, angrily upset that you went ahead over their heads and they have no interest in purchasing this, you wouldn't buy it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And, yeah, and
So-
I probably wouldn't be here to buy it.
That's right, but I mean, like, worst case scenario,
Yep,
it just wouldn't happen.
Correct.
yep.
Okay.
Anyone else want to weigh in on this? Okay. Councilor Allenson.
So what I'm struggling with here is no, I'm not. I understand respectfully, Councilor Fishbein is questioning the policy and the procedure. And I have seen you guys come before me in my 6 years here and 2 years there, or, well, it'll be 6 years, so 5 years here, right? And I've never had any inclination that you would come to us without the governing body having approved that you would be here. You have a member of your Board of Education in the audience who is certainly not stomping her feet and saying this is wrong. If we have never questioned this, with some of us having been up here a very, very long time, I kind of see a failure in procedure on our part. I don't see that this is the place that we need to start sticking for a pinky nail worth of power over the purchasing department. So personally, I support this either way. I don't think that you would be in front of us if you did not have the clarity to be here. That isn't the way that the Board of Ed operates, and multiple of us on this council can attest to that. I don't agree with pulling this is a fairly nominal spend in the grand scheme of things, and it is money that you have already allocated with the approval of the Board of Ed. I think that the process by which you got here is, if that needs to be evaluated in future requests, I don't think that this is the sticking point that we need to be holding ourselves to begin, after decades of service to this town, questioning the process. You have been here, Mr. Barone, for a very long time, Ms. Veyu also, the entire time that I've been up here. And I would defer to you when I was on operations, because you know more about what's going on in the district operationally than probably anyone else. And Ms. Veyu, also, extreme professionalism. I've never had you not able to answer a question for me. So with the same level of professionalism and respect that you have given me over the years, I'm going to give that to you and say that I understand that this process may be broken according to some people. That is not something that we can address here. We can only address how things have been done and move forward if we want to address that process going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Give me one moment, please. Oh, no, you're done. Is that what that was? Oh. All right, just for the sake of argument, if anyone has a computer, I did just email out a link to the document which outlines the Board of Ed's purchasing policies. It's policy 3320. It pretty much says over a number of paragraphs that, you know, they have to follow the type of purchasing requirements you would expect. It ends with the following statement. On occasion, because of a need to maintain uniformity or to satisfy certain technical requirements, it may be appropriate to seek a product or service from a single source. Any deviation from the bidding requirements of this policy must have written authorization by the superintendent. So, was the decision to seek a bid waiver authorized by the superintendent?
Absolutely.
In writing?
I wrote the letter to the mayor, not superintendent.
Wait, but did the superintendent authorize that?
Correct. She reviewed the letter also.
Well, I'm just.
Yes.
This policy, I mean, there's your.
Okay.
This is a potential out.
Okay, yeah.
But
yes.
It says the deviation must have written authorization by the superintendent. So one would expect that even a letter from the superintendent to you to do this is what this seems to be calling for. But it does nothing in here mentions a vote of the Board of Education. It does reference naturally following the Wallingford's Town Purchasing Department requirements, et cetera, which everybody has to follow. Anybody that wants to get a bid waiver needs our permission. But that's not to say that if the, I don't know, I'm just saying, you know, if another department wanted to get a bid waiver, you know, who would have to authorize it, if any? One would assume the department head, but I'm going to leave it to Attorney Einhorn to weigh in on that one.
Mr. Chairman.
Certainly, Mr. Councilor Fishbein.
Yeah, I would like to hear from Attorney Einhorn, but it's the council, it's the ordinance of the town that creates the ability to waive the purchasing process.
Right.
You can't have a sub-agency of the town through its own policies waive an ordinance. Ordinances, the policies are subservient to the ordinances. So it would have to appear in the ordinance. That's what I'm looking through the ordinance.
What you've been implying is that's exactly what you think is necessary.
I do not believe that if you look at the hierarchy of the Board of Ed, right?
Right.
The superintendent is hired by the Board of Ed. The Board of Ed is superior to the superintendent.
Right.
So the Board of Ed would have to empower the superintendent to do something.
Which they do in this policy. The last paragraph does that.
No, because that last paragraph that you just read is a unilateral decision by the superintendent. If you read,
Yes, the Board of Ed writes and passes this policy. This policy then, but the policy is what authorizes the superintendent to do this. But even then, the bid waiver still requires our approval.
I don't disagree.
But you were suggesting earlier that the Board of Ed would have to vote on approving a bid waiver when 30 seconds ago you said no. Well, yeah, you did. I'm just saying that this. I don't mean to be argumentative. That's what I'm trying to get straight. What you just said last kind of contradicted what you said earlier.
No, I'll say it again.
Oh, please do.
Board of Ed is supposed to vote to approve the superintendent approaching the town council for a bid waiver.
That's what you're suggesting you believe is true.
I believe it is true.
And I pointed out in the policy that it's not, but we are reading it differently. That's okay. So we should get an answer on that. I agree with you.
Mr. Chairman, So the law department can research it. I think the real question is, we've heard testimony, I at least heard 3 different things that could have happened or did happen, so I'm not clear what actually happened. So rather than trying to pick a target, I think we would probably have to look at this further to give you an opinion rather than one on the fly. We heard testimony that there may have been a bid waiver approval and vote, and then there was testimony that it was approved for a purchase. Then there was a testimony that they have a letter of authority that was issued. So I'm not sure which of the 3 we're supposed to be looking at right now.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. Can you wait a little bit? Is this so urgent you can't wait a couple of weeks?
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to hold this up. I think we need an answer to the question. But, I mean, I'm going to vote no on my percent. I think the body by comment has spoken that the matter is going to pass no matter what the procedural outcome is. I think going forward, we need some sort of an answer, though. And I have brought this issue up in previous years.
So theoretically, hypothetically, what happens if we vote to approve this tonight, and then the opinion is given that it was inappropriate? I mean, is it going to be? Are you?
I don't see.
Would you then? Would it be more than I told you so, from you?
Well, I don't see us empowering the law department to then sue our own Board of Education for violating the purchasing ordinance. So I would leave it at that. I'd like an answer.
Yeah, but we're not talking about violating the purchasing ordinance. You're talking.
If it came back that there was a violation.
No, but we're talking about not a violation of the purchasing argument. You're talking about a violation of the Board of Ed policy.
I don't care about the Board of Ed policy.
That's all you've been talking about. No, I mean, if I'm incorrect, my colleagues can correct me. You've never brought up that because of our ordinance requires the board to vote on this.
The word bid waiver doesn't even appear in the policies of the Board of Education. We're talking about the bid waiver ordinance. That's what we're talking about. It's an ordinance. It's not a Board of Education policy.
Okay.
So in order for the Board of Education, my position is, in order for the Board of Education to appear before the Town Council to seek a bid waiver through the superintendent, that they would need to vote to empower the superintendent to debate whether or not this item should go out to bid and decide that it is appropriate to have a bid waiver. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what their policy says.
But are you suggesting that's in our purchasing ordinance?
Not expressly, but that is the procedure that should be followed, because the superintendent, in effect, can't act without a motion and a vote by the Board of Education. It's the Board of Education that directs the superintendent basically.
Where in our ordinance does it say that?
That goes to the policies. That goes to the statutes. The superintendent is an employee of the Board of Education.
Oh, I know how that works. I know how that works.
You really can't do much without, except for day-to-day affairs, without direction of the Board of Education.
Yes.
So now we have a software purchase. We have a procedure. It's my position, and I've seen this elsewhere, that you merely put on an agenda. We would like to seek a bid waiver from the Town Council for this item. Board of Education votes on it. Superintendent or someone like Mr. Barone appears before the Town Council and says, this is when the Board of Education voted on it. It's usually in the letter. Go at it. That should be the procedure.
Should, in your opinion, and
yeah,
possibly maybe it should, but you used the term a violation of the ordinance.
A violation of the purchasing ordinance because the procedure was not
followed. And
followed.
all the things you've been saying over and over imply that that is in our ordinance, or it couldn't have been a violation of an ordinance if they didn't do it.
It'd be a violation of the ordinance if they didn't follow the proper procedure to get a bid waiver.
So now we're talking about their policies.
No. It'd be a violation of the ordinance if they didn't follow the proper procedure to get a bid waiver.
What proper procedure?
I'll leave that to Attorney Einhorn.
Okay, all right, we're good. I just want to know what we're trying to clarify, and I'm not, and believe it or not, I'm not actually being intentionally argumentative. I really want to get to the bottom of the logic here. All right, well, we could vote on this, or someone can make a motion to table it. All right, I see no motions, so I will call for a roll call vote.
Allenson?
Yes.
Carmody?
Yes.
Fishbein?
No.
Laffin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Hervard?
Yes.
Versace?
Yes.
Tata?
Yes.
Testa?
Yes. Wait, did you call Fishbein? Yes. Oh, I didn't hear it. I apologize. All right, so 9 votes, 8-1. It passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do appreciate that discussion, how it was done. All right, next item on the agenda. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
I make a motion.
Before we go on, Attorney Einhorn, you do have a good idea what we would like to see.
I do, Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate that. And then, obviously, if you have any questions about any specifics, and make sure you're meeting the spirit of what Councilor Fishbein does, please contact him directly.
Understood.
If you need to, and we'll all have it soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
I make a motion to approve a bid waiver for the purchase of a John Deere 320P backhoe from W.I. Clark Company of Wallingford, Connecticut via NASPO.
I second.
All right. Good evening. Oh, wait, there's a phone. My phone's ringing. Oh, Craig, you have to go home. Just kidding. Come on, just a little fun. All right, thank you. Identify yourself, and please, and let us know what we're looking at.
Neil Amway, General Manager for the Town of Wallingford Water and Sewer Divisions, with a bid waiver request. I think you can get them under the bid limit. Alrighty. So the Wallingford Water Division utilizes backhoes on a daily basis to excavate and backfill trenches for water main repairs, the public side of water service repairs, and replacement or repair of hydrants. All backhoes currently owned and operated by the Water Division, the Department of Public Works, and the Wallingford Electric Division are John Deere machines. Standardizing equipment across the divisions and departments of the town provides significant operational, safety, and financial benefits. The various implements and attachments used by the divisions and departments are fully interchangeable, and it allows for efficient sharing of equipment between the divisions. One of the key aspects of having standardized equipment and all having John Deere's is the control layouts, including the switches, the parking brakes, how you raise and lower the booms are all in the same position, particularly when we operate, the Water Division operates at night for water main repairs, water service repairs, or in low conditions. I think an analogy would be if you rent a car, you don't know where all the controls are at first, but if you're getting your own car, you know how to change all those. Also, having John Deere backhoes, we can reduce our parts inventory. So the Water Division did some research, and through the National Association of State Procurement Officials, NASPO, the Water Division is looking to purchase a John Deere 320P backhoe for the price of $148,319. That includes a 41% discount off the list price, plus another discount of $10,500 for being a government entity. The existing John Deere 310D will be assigned to the watershed crew up at the Pistapog Water Treatment Plant. So there is no trade-in here. And for reference, the existing John Deere 310D was purchased in 1991. Actually, I have the original copy of the original purchase order with me. It's dated May 14th, 1991. The Public Utilities Commission did endorse this bid waiver request at the last Public Utilities Commission last Tuesday. That is how all three divisions of the Department of Public Utilities operate. There is an endorsement from the Public Utilities Commission, and then the approval goes in front of the Town Council. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Well, thank you very much. That was very helpful. Questions? Councilor Fishbein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, and I wanted to point out that paragraph in your letter, given the colloquy that you just witnessed. It says the Wallingford Water Division respectfully requests PUC endorsement of a bid waiver to purchase the John Deere backhoe. So why do you do that?
We asked the Public Utilities Commission for an endorsement first, and then the governing body is the Town Council.
Yes, so they have an opportunity to weigh in on whether or not you come here for a bid waiver.
Correct.
You've always followed that procedure?
Yes, that's the standard language. I pretty much copy and paste each time.
And I would have Attorney Einhorn review that language in conjunction with him putting together his memorandum with regard to how bid waivers should be handled in this town. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You got it. Anyone else? Oh.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's fine. You don't care about me. It's fine.
Well, send me flowers once in a while, and, you know.
I think it should be the other way around. Also for Attorney Einhorn, I know it's off topic, but on their Board of Ed website, in addition, the superintendent, in their sole discretion, may grant a waiver for any of the above listed reasons. That's the Board of Ed policy. I support this purchase.
Okay. Anyone else on the council? Yes, Councilor Risacci.
I just wanted to say, I think like the backup information was really strong, and the fact that you got a 41% discount through NASPO, that you use NASPO, that you also got an additional government discount. This is clearly a very old piece of machinery, so I fully support purchasing this and giving the bid waiver.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Reynolds, you good? Okay.
Thank you for asking. I'm good.
All right. We haven't heard from you. Just wanted to see how you were. Okay, I will call for a roll call vote on this. I'm going to do it myself. And it's not alphabetical. Councilor Tata.
Yes.
Councilor Fishbein.
Yes.
Allenson.
Yes.
Laffin.
Yes.
Rivard.
Yes.
Carmody.
Yes.
Risacci.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Testa. Yes. All right, you got it.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for sticking around.
Point of order.
Yeah.
I just want to say it was really nice not being first.
There you go. If I had to try to do it alphabetically, we'd be here for 20 minutes. I'd be doing my fingers. Okay, who's next? All right.
I will gladly go first.
We're going to do that random roll. Ooh, the random roll call. I'm digging it. Yeah, we're going to do the occasional random roll call. I'm instituting it.
That was voted on unanimously.
That's all you need to know. I just called the names out randomly. All right, let's take the next item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve delegating authority to the Law Department to settle collection cases on claims valued up to $2,500 for the term of the Town Council ending January 2028.
Second? Motion's
been made and seconded. Attorney Einhorn, what's the thing here?
Mr. Chairman, this has been approved. I'm probably going to give you the wrong amount of times, but at least 3 prior terms that we've had this in place. It's across all departments and allows us to have some flexibility. Keep in mind, collections in Connecticut allows for a minimum payment of $35 a week, $140 a month. Even at $2,500, that could take some time to collect and effort on our part. So it's advantageous to be able to accept a lump sum payment in lieu of spending years collecting $35 a week. It's also advantageous to possibly settle claims that would have to go to trial only for a few $100 difference. So it's something that probably, in my memory, is used less than 3 or 4 times a year, but it's helpful.
Okay, any questions? I think just basically getting things caught up with the times a little bit, right? Are we good? Oh, yes, Councilor Fishbein.
I appreciate the ending January 2028, but we don't have a date. So I understand the thought process, and I think, well, I think the thought process is you can't bind a future council.
Correct.
So shouldn't that date be like the date that the next council gets sworn in? Because otherwise you're going to have 3 weeks or so of a new council that is bound to this.
I don't think we knew the exact date that we were going to put in there, so that was the January 2028 was a placeholder, but your point's taken that it may not, it could be December 31st, 2027.
Yeah, I just want to be for the entirety of this term.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
So, you know, because as written, it would end February 1.
Or at the start of January.
Well, it doesn't say that. It says ending
Doesn't say at the
January,
end.
so when it becomes February, January's over with, so.
No, it says ending January. I read that as it stops in January.
I think it was intended to mean that it ends in January, at the beginning of January.
Okay, I think it would be, if we could just figure out.
Well, we just
The
change
intent
wording.
is what you said, Councilor Fishbein, is that for the remaining term that you have as a council.
Yeah, so that's like January, it's the second Monday of whatever. Second Monday of January 2028.
Just motion to amend it. Right.
Is it the
You good?
first Monday would be January 3? Is that what it normally is?
I don't know.
Why not just make it run the amendment through December 31st? I think they could probably wait 3 days.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
That's fine.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have 3
through
months.
December
so,
31st? Yeah, so is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll second that
that's
amendment.
been
Friendly
seconded.
amended.
Any, what's that?
It's friendly amended.
Friendly amendment, so we're good to go. All right, any comments?
Tata.
All in favor, signify, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, Councilor Tata.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome.
In regards to the amendment, I just think grammatically, I don't think it needs to be changed. I think, so it reads, the approval be in effect for the term of the town council ending January 2028.
Okay,
So
I
the-
agree.
Yeah, so the way that I read that is the term of that council, which ends in January 2028. So I think I would argue it's okay as is.
True that.
So I don't know if you want to,
You couldn't whisper that to him during all this?
I mean.
Right there. You have one job sitting next to him.
Good enough.
Yeah, so anyway, so now the friendly amendment's on the table. I don't know if you want to remove that or not, but
It's of no
that's all,
harm.
that's all I have.
Okay. We're voting on the motion with the friendly amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, the motion has passed. Next item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-206E, 1-210B, 5AB, and 7-232A to discuss purchased power.
Second?
All in favor signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? We are in executive session. Thank you very much. Okay, I will accept the motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Is that seconded?
Second.
It has been seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are in public session. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve a bid waiver for Smartest Energy US LLC as discussed in executive session.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, I will entertain a roll call vote, please.
Allenson?
Yes.
Carmody?
Yes.
Fishbein?
Yes.
Laffin?
Yes.
Reynolds? Rivard?
Yes.
Versace?
Yes?
Tata?
Yes.
Testa?
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hendershot.
Well, thank you, folks.
Where are we?
I'd almost say it was worth the wait.
Almost.
Almost.
All right. Well, seeing nothing else on the agenda, I will call this meeting adjourned.